Hi everyone. Okay. Um, I'm having a hard time again. Like every day. Every day I have a hard time. With, especially because of my condition anyway. I have a hard time in general. But um I just hope someone finds this channel one day and is it it'll help them to avoid some of the heartache and trauma and things I've had to endure. Maybe one day they will have the proper treatment for personality disorders, including my own, you know, cluster B's, cluster C, cluster A. I think there's cluster A, B, and C worth of personality disorders out there. So most popular right now is the cluster B, but there's cluster A and C that have caused a lot of unnecessary problems for society in general and other people's lives. So I I try to keep hope for myself, um, to heal my own issues that I work on. All the medication in the world, it won't help somebody that has a personality disorder. I mean, it helps symptoms of distress that you notice, that you recognize that are issues. You can get some remedy for that, but the underlying cause of these disorders is impenetrable and very difficult, and I would assume expensive to reverse, even from the best psychotherapist, whatever. Um, I continually, from in my whole life, I've consistently attracted people within my own cluster, I guess you could say. Um, I guess you could look at it from, well, that's where I belong. I belong in the cluster B group of people, of humanity, or whatever this is. And so it's just kind of my own faith that I am in this group of people, that I attract these type of people, that I seek out these type of people. It kind of makes sense if you think about it. But because that's all I've encountered in my life, long term. The people that I want relationships with, friendships with, jobs, romantic, obviously, relationships, everything has been within the group of the cluster Bs, and they are not a good group to be in. That I did not sign up for. I'll tell you that much. Because we got the boron as myself. We have histrionic. We have narcissist. We have the sociopaths and the antisocial, which is psychopaths. Joy, think that was it. Avoidant, dependent, all that is, I think, cluster C's. And I'm starting to think maybe, well, cluster B has cluster C mixing with that a little bit too, because it's comorbid. So cluster B is comorbid with, I guess, it could be comorbid with a cluster A or cluster B, depending on the combination of the person. Specifically, it's very complicated, but it makes sense in a way. And then you have the group that is normal, and that group is quite large, apparently. Quite large. Now, I've come across these people in my life, of course, but, well, they're a majority, right? But I cannot maintain any kind of relationship, especially a close one, with them. So I realize that it's because I don't belong in that group. I am part of the cluster B team, and it just fits that way. It makes sense. And the normal people do not cross paths with us in the way that's permanent or intimate in any way, because they know better. And it makes sense because they came from a normal upbringing. Their normal upbringing programs them to attract like individuals. And this is why it's so difficult for me. And the uniqueness of what I am is not unique, but because there's not many borderlines out there online making YouTube channels, there are some. And a lot of them are comorbid with the narcissist and the histrionic or whatever. That is more of a show off, and they're the ones making the money, I guess, off of YouTube. But not many of us classic borderline, I would say I am not as successful at all in anything that I try to accomplish. I don't have the right edge. I don't have the right comorbidity with my disorder that will make me blend in more with society that has been grown more narcissistic anyway to accommodate. And because we're a unique, I guess, bunch, and we draw a lot of attention. That's true. For the most part, it makes sense that a lot of them end up profitable and successful. But I don't have the right combination for that, apparently. So I just I'm trying to break free in vain, I believe, because the fight is hard. Alone, it's a lonely fight. It's hard, and it's also internal. So not a lot of people can see it on the outside, for the most part. And when I do show it, it's to the wrong people, like the narcissist, that want to bring out all that pain inside of me anyway, because that entertains them and fuels their egos. So I end up involved with those kinds of people over and over again. And I feel like I'm predestined and pre-programmed, which I believe every person is pre-programmed from childhood. And it's too late when you're an adult to really reverse any of that. And again, I can only medicate myself from the life-threatening symptoms that I have, from the life that I live. Being who I am and what I attract and what group I belong in. But the medication isn't enough. I don't know what medication would be enough or would make me different. I don't think there is anything other than learning different techniques and DBT skills. I can cover up and be more of a part of society that way. And that's really all these therapies, what they're meant to do, just cover up the symptoms, and so the person can be a productive person in society. And that's all it is about. Other than deep therapy and a good psychologist, there's no fixing it. I don't have that kind of money to afford a really good psychotherapist, whatever, psychiatrist. I don't know. With the richer people, they have more access to more experienced doctors and effective treatments. Unlike myself, which is not very high on the pole there. I'm on the lower end of society here, trying to dig myself out of it. But I can see ahead of me, and I don't see it the way I would have liked it to be, the way I pictured my life to be. Like, there's one thing to work on yourself and know your flaws and know where you need to fix things, and then there's another of you need the support, which is people and individuals, and those individuals are always of my group, and they always tear me down and trigger me and make me start all over again in the process of recovering. So, and re-traumatize me, that's another one. Yes, very easily. So I just think, what way should I live my life now that I know these things and I'm aware of it? Sometimes I don't want to be aware of these things. I don't want to know these things sometimes. So it's a lot to take. And I kind of regret looking for the information now, because I feel obsessed with learning as much as I can about narcissism and all these disorders, and it's just making me worse. It's making me feel worse about things that are more hopeless. Because there's help more for like codependent type people or normals, and they can get the help and they can recover and they can get their lives back. But I never had my life to begin with to get back, because I've always been borderline, and I know from my childhood it started back then. So I didn't acquire it through a relationship with the narcissist. I've had it all my life. So, because my parents are narcissists. So, but I just wanted to say I think a lot of borderlines, they're getting some things wrong. Like, the borderline is usually like when I hear things about people ending up with borderlines that are normals and they're codependents, I get a little bit jealous because I think I never had that. I always ended up with a similar person in my group that was, like I said, cluster B. So, you know, my ex-husband, these aren't people that suffered me, in other words, you know. We kind of tortured and tormented each other. There's not a lot of help out there for someone like me that is trying to recover from my own disorder, but I'm also trying to recover from the damage that these other people caused me, which are, like I said, I think the borderline really comes from a sick parenting, and the sick parents are disordered in some way, right? They have a cluster B disorder or worse. You know, I think it's a gene thing as well, in the environment, but the environment should be focused on the parents, and they should really look into who those parents are, because they will find they are psychopathic parents or narcissistic parents or one of those type, even borderline, whatever, but they're equally disordered. So you're fixing one person, but you got the whole family there that has caused the problem to begin with. So that's all I really want to say about that, because I'm looking for help. Nobody seems to understand that I'm not imagining the abuse. I have been abused, and I still am. It's an ongoing thing for me. And I know that I'm also suffering from complicated grief, because I lose all the time so many things, like people and just, you know, relationships that I thought were real, and just losing a relationship that you think is real or genuine is a grieving process, as well as losing somebody to a death. So, you know, and I also lost people to death as well, which is my grandparents, and at an early age, and I couldn't process that. I did not process it well. So I have complicated grief. Well, I can't say it, and that's not being addressed well with medication. I don't know what to do. All I know is I know I have that now, and that I need also additional therapy for that. So how long these processes are, for me, it's gonna be my whole entire life. I can tell you now. I feel like I need help every single day to get my mind normalized some way, somehow. And then I have to focus on progressing in this society, which I don't even have a clue. I have no idea. I'm too stuck in this, you know, grief and pain that I have every day from my disorder and people that are around me, and also the fears, a lot of fear and pain. That's my disorder too. So, and a lot of medications, and the medications are for what? They're for depression, anxiety. They have medications for psychosis, I guess, but I'm not on that, but you know what I'm saying. They don't have a pill for everything. And I hope someone listens to this and can understand what I'm saying. And I lost a lot, and I probably lose a lot. I just see the trajectory that I'm in life, more loss, you know? More loss. That's basically my legacy, and I just I don't know how to change it or reverse. I have no idea. But it's not a happy existence. This is not a life living existence for me. It feels very threatening, life in general, to me. because of my intentions were always good. And like I said, I feel like I was set up for this life, and this is what it is. And just thank God you don't have this disorder or any similar like disorder that puts you in danger with other people, and just connecting and like magnetizing to people that are you think are great for you and you love, and then they end up being the opposite. I don't even know how I get up in the morning knowing I gotta face another day of this shit of hell that I have to maneuver around. My will is becoming very limited to do that since I'm getting older and all. So, I don't know. But I hope everyone understood what I said, and I hope no one's suffering this way. And if you are, just know you're not alone, and there's people you think are walking around doing just fine, and they look fine, but they're really not. So, just know that, and that's all I had to say right now. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to me. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment to encourage me to make the videos. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone who watches or views it. And thank you very much for listening. Bye.